Hi, welcome to Integrated Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk a little bit about being a conduit and not a receptacle. But first, I have a little announcement. Uh, that made it sound like a big deal, didn't it? It's not. I've had people ask me how do you get autographed copies of of my books, the Stonemount series, the Reversion, Revival, and the Renewal. Well, I finally uh, figured I should address that. So I have put up in the About section here on YouTube, and I hope I've done it right, the post office box where you can send me mail. If you would like to get autographed copies of any or all of them, just write me at that address. Stick in. It goes for $12.99 on Amazon, and then I think there's tax on top of that, or whatever, and shipping and stuff. But if whatever books you would like, stick 15 bucks in for each book that you would like, and we'll call that good. We'll call that shipping and handling and postage back to you and everything like that. Let me know who it's to. Let me know what kind of inscription you'd like in it. As long as it's short enough so that my hand doesn't get tired and there aren't any bad words, and as long as it's a nice little message, and I'm sure it would be for many of you all. I'll be happy to do it. And if you'd like, for some to be sent to friends as gifts or whatever, I do the same thing. Just stick a note in there. Tell me what you'd like me to do, and I'll be happy to do that. I might also ask that you put in your email address. So that when I get your letter, and I only check this thing about once a week, but when I get your letter, I'll be able to email you back, let you know that I got it, and when you can be expecting it, and keep in touch with you like that. If you already have books and you'd like them autographed, I'd be happy to do that. Just mail me the book or books or whatever. Again, let me know what you want, you know, inscribed in it, and to whom you want it inscribed, and find out what it's going to cost you to ship it to me, and then if you wouldn't mind sticking in, a check or whatever for that amount, because as much as I'd like to, pay for for all the postage, I can't afford to buy everybody's postage back. So just stick that in there so it kind of covers my cost of sending it back to you, and I'm happy to do that. So I think that covers that. And again, it's up in the About section if I did it right. When I used to teach martial arts, and I didn't make a living at it. I mean, I owned a gym and I taught at the gym, and then later on I taught some other places. So I did it as I enjoyed it to an extent. I felt a responsibility to an extent. I did it for a number of reasons, but I never did it full time to make a living. And so I was kind of picky of who I would teach. And I always had plenty of people wanting to take, but there's a lot of people who will come to something like that just have motives that maybe I didn't want to support, and so I'd have a little talk with each one when they came in, and kind of ask them what what their reasons were for wanting to take martial arts, and get to know them a little bit. I didn't charge that much, so I had a right, I figured, to let them know I was either going to teach them or not, depending on how I felt. Um, but if I did decide to teach someone, um, there were two requirements that I had that I told them. The first was that the world around them would be safer as a result of them knowing what I was going to teach them. And the second was that they would be a conduit for the information that I was going to share with them, not simply a receptacle. In other words, I didn't want them to just come and absorb this and learn this and keep it to themselves. But part of my agreement, because I was not charging them that much money, was that they should take this down the road and help others learn, whoever wanted to. But that they would serve as not an ending receptacle, but a conduit through which the information would flow to others. And I explained that as that happens, you look like a big barrel of water, and you fill it with water. Well, what's going to happen to that water? It just sits there. It doesn't do much good for anything unless you need to dump it out sometime, and it gets old and stale. But a conduit through which water continually runs stays fresh, and that was another one of my reasons for that. I pretty much say the same thing, when I talk to people about firearms, um, but we're not going to get into that right now. I just want to suggest that uh, as you learn more about preparedness and survival and the different things that you come onto these channels for, that you also kind of accept that responsibility of being a conduit um, through which this information can be relayed and shared with others instead of simply retaining all of that information yourself. Um, and some of you might not think that you're cut out. You'll say, well, I come here to learn, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, but I'm not really one of those that goes out and shares and teaches and things like that. Well, I would challenge you or suggest to you to do it a little bit, to try it. You may not think that you're much of a teacher or an instructor, but you might be surprised. I don't consider myself much of an instructor or a teacher. As a matter of fact, I mean, I've taught a lot of people a lot of different things, but I don't have what I would call the heart of a teacher or the mind of a teacher. In that I'm happy to share and explain things to people who want to learn them, but then having shared that and having talked about it a little bit, I'm kind of ready to move on. I don't have that ability that a good teacher, a good instructor needs, I don't think, which is to be able to go over the basics and over the same things time after time after time with a new group of people, and to be able to do this at different levels, for a sustained period of time. I have some of my old students, I think are much better instructors than I am, because I've watched them teach their classes, and I'm just astounded that they teach um, exactly what I taught them. I mean, just down to verbatim, down to the very smallest details. They will pass on, teach what I taught them. And sometimes when I go to or have gone to a new, I don't do it much anymore, when I have gone to a new class of new people, I realize that I tend to skip over some of that basic stuff. And I shouldn't, which is why I don't consider myself a great teacher. Um, so anyway, that's just kind of a thought for you. You may not consider yourself, a teacher or an instructor type, or you think, well, people wouldn't want to hear what I say. Well, you might be surprised. And there's an old saying that you don't really know something until you teach it, and another saying that to teach is to learn twice. That's really true. When you try to share this or start sharing this with other people, um, you'll be surprised how much of it will come back to you as you kind of assume that responsibility for passing information on to others, and they will appreciate it. They will get something out of it, and you might find you enjoy it, and the world will have one more good teacher, and the world can use some more good teachers. So I just want to encourage any of you that have that kind of nibbling around at the back of your brain, do go out there and share some of this. Make yourself someone that other people come to and ask questions. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that today. If you have experience in that, let me know. Put it in the comments. It might help other people. who are thinking about it but seem a little bit hesitant to get into it themselves. I think that's it. I got stuff I got to go do now. Remember, if you want some autographed copies, the P.O. box ought to be up in the About section, so send me a note and let me know, and I'm happy to get them on to you. And I think I'll leave it there and remind you that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, so do something today to prepare. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.